waste city to landfill. This is a very huge program, but what I want to say to you is when you're analyzing your cost, when you're changing the deal with the subcontractors, what are the specificity of the contract, and when you take time, and when all the departments are just working together, so you can begin to save a lot of money. And that's what we've decided for this zero waste project. We have now 50 million shekel every year, and we decided that in 10 years it will be half of that. So I think that, to conclude, I think that we can save money, we can foster the different stakeholders, the different departments to work together, to analyze the cost, and to say that if you have a political incentive, so you can push people to work together and to make real saving in the city. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you very much. I think it's a very fresh perspective, trying to do saving while doing good. We've got a few minutes for questions for our panelists. Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I've done your name.
David.
David, how much is going to landfill now, percentage-wise?
Now?
Yes.
In Israel, it's 80%.
In Kfar Saba?
Yeah, but in Kfar Saba, that's around 60%. It means that there's 40% of recycled materials that are not going to landfill. But we invest in different infrastructure to help people to selective sorting in the city. So in every quarter, you have for glasses, you have for paper, you have for everything. So people are forced to play the game of the selective sorting at source. Yeah.
So you will have zero landfill in about 10 years?
We hope so. This is our goal, yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, my name is Mads. I'm working with the Nordic governments. One question is, you're talking about breaking down the silos. I think everybody who's working in this field feels that can be a problem, and getting this cross collaboration is very important. Is it only what you say? Is it mostly the economic incentives that have made it possible to break down silos?
No.
Is it political will, or what's the main thing that has succeeded in breaking down the silos?
That's right. No, of course, this is the economic incentive is a part of it, but of course there's a vision. I was explaining before in the introduction that there is in the city a real attachment, real link to the nature of the city. So when you're speaking about sustainability, it's connected to values and to a vision that are very easy to deal with.
I think, Eitan, if you want to pick up on anything, but within Tel Aviv, breaking down the silos was very much through a perspective of what would be, Eitan referred to as those low-hanging fruit. Where would the successes, the biggest successes be that would be accepted by the public who are already in favor of some of the interventions that we were after, rather than perhaps cutting costs, which was also on the agenda but wasn't the driving force there. I'm happy to invite Mika to share some of your knowledge and ideas with us. Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome. I would like to talk about a completely different thing. We in our Healthy Cities network, we used to do several manuals. We started with No Smoking City and then with Active Cities. By the way, Kfar Saba is one of our cities and Tel Aviv too. And we have a tradition of working in a big partnership of all different kinds of different disciplines and partners, and we actually build together the manual. And what I'd like to show you is some highlights of our manual that we call it MedSense Nutrition. It's the initials of Mediterranean, safe, equitable, nutrition, sustainable and life. Even the initials was a participatory process. We asked all our partners to be part of it. And you can see a long list of partners that were part of this process of preparing the manual. There are people from the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, and people from NGOs, from local authorities, and our city coordinators of the healthy cities, because they brought up their experience from how they work in the field. So we combine concepts and strategies and examples. Our approach is based on previous publications that we did about active living, and we read a lot of publications, as we heard before, from the World Health Organization. We also used the Milan Urban Policy Pact, although we started our process about a year before Milan. We had the same ideas, and it was very nice to have a format that we could bring in and to relate to it. And of course, we rely upon our experience of all our partners. And we started with definitions. We decided to together what we mean by a city who adopted that kind of policy. So we said that it is an authority that adopts a policy of healthy, safe, equitable, and sustainable nutrition and acts toward its implementation. The authority commits to acting toward assuring food security, encouraging consumption of food in accordance with Mediterranean nutrition principles, locally produced, arranging for the local preparation and marketing of food, and supervising the composition, quality, and safety of food served in all its settings. And all its settings, we have the example of kindergarten. We have a lot of examples of after-school care facilities that in the municipalities, they prepare all kinds of regulations and actually did a lot of work in this field. So what do we have in our manual? By the way, you can get our manual on a disc on key. We translated it to English, especially for you. So I don't know if you have it here, Hagit. It's here? Okay, so you can get it. And what do we have in the manual? We have guidelines for creating urban culture that encourage and enable the MedSense nutrition. We have principles and strategies for implementation, for planning and implementation. And we have a lot of examples from abroad and from our cities. And the last chapter refers to scientific background, because we put it at the last pages because people usually read only the beginning of any manual. So at the beginning you will have the most important part, and then if you want to look more, you have scientific background and recommendations, and we have also several appendices that gives you even the examples of how to collect data, how to do the evaluation, even questionnaires for the coordinator and for the study, a population study. So this is the model that we developed. Actually, it was inspired from the Milan Urban Policy Pact, but we combined it with a model of WHO which relates to healthy workplaces. So we combined the two. You can see here that we are dealing with healthy nutrition, sustainable nutrition, food security and food safety, and also issues about the environment, cultivation, production, marketing, and so on. And in the middle, the core of the whole model is partnerships. And as we were talking before about breaking the silos, this is the most important thing, and we work toward it. It's not so easy, I must confess, but we are dealing with it. So we start with partnerships. And of course, there should be a commitment of management, and if we are talking about the city, it should be the mayor and, of course, the city councillors also. It's not only the mayor. And we want to see the implementation in all settings. It's not only the municipality itself. It could be the first place to do it, but it should be in the schools and after schools and all kinds of clubs and all kinds of neighborhoods. And we suggest the whole process, how should it go, and we give step by step how to do it in our manual. We start from getting on board. Of course, we have to start with bringing up the issue to the mayor and to convince other people from the municipality to adopt, like the pact. And then we start with assembling the steering committee and legal group and so on. And then comes the part of assessing. We need to collect information